What's good, guys? This is your boy Shem reporting live from Obscure Report. Today we're going to be getting into the executive order, but more importantly, we're going to be talking about the CBDC that's to come in 2023. I've been saying this since the year 2020 with some of my friends. Anybody who knows me and talks with me knows I've been saying this, that this digital currency is going to be coming in the year 2023. And this is obviously after the pandemic happened, but I've been doing my own research and I wanted to talk about it today. So let's jump into this and check out this article. Okay, so Executive Order 14067, ensuring responsible development for digital assets. This was done on March 9th, 2022. So this order was done on March 9th, 2022, this year. So let's get to the most important sections. Section 4, policies and actions related to the United States Central Bank and digital currency. Okay, the policy of my administration on a United States CBDC is as follows. 1. Sovereign money is at the core of a well-functioning financial system. So that means a system that is controlling everything, right? A monetary system that is built and there's a central point of focus. That's what sovereign money really means. My administration places the highest urgency on research and development and efforts into potentially designing and deploying options of the United States CBDC. So there's a huge push by this president, but it was before Biden even became president. This has been an ongoing plan going back to the year 2006, and I'll get into that more as we go through these articles. It says right here, my administration sees merit in showing United States leadership and participation in international forum-related CBDCs. So that means there's other countries having their own central bank and digital currencies, and in multiple country conversations and pilot projects involved in CBDCs. So there's going to be, and there is actually right now, multiple pilot programs going on, some in 2019 in Australia and different countries like that. And basically what I'm trying to say is America is behind in terms of rolling out their CBDC, right? Any future dollar payment system should be designed in a way that is consistent with the United States priorities as outlined in Section 4A1 of this order. So basically, sovereign money, right? This is the key. Total control, a central point of control, like I said before. So let's scroll down to a lower part of the section. It says within 180 days, right? 6 times 3 is 18, right? So it's 30 days in a month, basically. So 6 months you have 180 days of this order. The Secretary of Treasury, consultation with the Secretary of State, the Attorney General, the Secretary of Commerce, the Secretary of Homeland Security, the Director of Office of Management and Budget, the Director of National Intelligence, and the heads of other relevant agencies shall submit to the President a report on the future money of payment systems, including the conditions that drive broad adoption of digital assets the extent to which technological innovation may influence these outcomes, and implications for the United States financial system. Okay, so basically this is just the modernization of the change of the death of the dollar, essentially. So they gave them 180 days, so 6 months. So March, if you add on 6 months from where March is, you basically land you in the 9th month, right? September. But this all has to be done in, I want to focus on this part, within 210 days, which is 7 months. So this lands us in October. So if it was March 9th, this order was made, it would be October 9th, this order has to be finished. Within 210 days of the date of the order, provided to the President through the APNSA and the APEP, a corresponding legislative proposal based on the consideration of the report submitted by the Secretary of Treasury under Section 4B of this order and any other materials developed by the Chairman of the Federal Reserve consists of Section 4C, right? So basically, ultimately what they're saying is, I'm not going to read all this, the Chairman of the Board of the Federal Reserve and the chairman of, obviously these people who are in high position know that there's a digital currency and they're all on board in making this happen. And this has been a long years in the plan since I was a little kid. You can go back to the early 2000s. This was all in plan. Anyways, so it says right here, Federal Reserve Fednow real-time payment system set for mid-2023. So it's called the Fednow. That's what it's called, right? This is basically what's going to replace our dollar. If you know what happened in 71 when we got off the gold standard, then you pretty much know there's going to be a similar effect that goes on. Expect the market to crash, expect things to go down. And we already know that things are going down. This past week, today is October 9th. So today is actually the exact date of when the 6 months are up, right? For this order, for everything to come together. And now we're seeing that and this was published August 29, 2020, right? So not too long ago. So it says the U.S. Federal Reserve has tightened the window for launch of its FedNow instant payment platform between May and July of 2023. According to the press release, FedNow will be open to financial institutions of any size, allowing them to facilitate instant payments to consumers and businesses, giving customers immediate full access to their funds, right, basically. The platform is currently in a pilot phase with more than 120 organizations participating, including lender US Bank and payment processor, you know that name, payments among them. Alacrity. I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce that name, but you see it there. So ultimately, many institutions and 120 plus organizations are in on this already. So right here, there's something called Project Hamilton. Project Hamilton in phase 1 summary. All right, this was published February 3rd, 2022. Let's scroll down. It says, Phase 1 has surfaced several key learnings and potential designs of the CBDC. Select ideas of cryptography. Distributed systems of blockchain technology can provide unique functionality and robust performance. We suspect existing database and distributed system technologies is sufficient to provide more traditional payment and architecture for CBDCs, where one actor stores users' account. So basically, just think of everything will be controlled from a central point, man. Everything will be controlled from a central point. And this, notice it says right here, Federal Reserve Bank of Boston. So they're working, but who are they working with? I'm going to show you who Boston is working with. Well, actually, if you read it right here, by Federal Reserve Bank of Boston and Massachusetts Institute of Technology. So they're working with this university, MIT, Digital Currency Initiative. Right, so I'm going to get into Project Hamilton and where it originally, like how far back it goes. It says our history. The Hamilton Project was launched April 4, 2006 as an economic policy initiative at the Brookings Institutes by a unique combination of leading academics, business people, and public policy makers who wanted to develop a serious systematic strategy to address the challenges that our economy faces. So that's what they wanted to do. And now I want to show you like the connection. This is something I'm going to read a little quickly. It says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. Now, this is important because all this stuff has to do with prophecy. And no, this is not about the buying and selling portion is to coerce the populace into worshiping that image of the beast. And the image of the beast, and I was actually going to do a whole history lesson on breaking that down. Like, if you know anything about the Babylonians, the Medes and Persians, the Greeks, the Romans, right, and the transition of power that they had over the 2,000 years, then you would understand this. So I'm going to actually do a series on this to break it down. But I'm going to jump back into the part that no man, this is verse 17, that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of the name. But in 16 above it says, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark on their right hand and on their forehand. The forehands just mean the hand means that the mindset, right? And the hand means you're actually working physically. So I'm going to get more into that later, but I wanted to show you that there's a connection here with Bible prophecy. Anyways, let's jump back into Project Hamilton. And so we know that Project Hamilton started in 2006, but this actually goes further back before the early 2000s, right? Back to the Clinton administration as well, right? But obviously it was named something else. Remember, organizations change their name and they rebrand themselves. So that's pretty much that. The US government just teased its instant payment system, which we know is the Fednow. Consumers already have numerous digital transaction systems from both banks and third-party businesses available to them, but none of us have direct access to a central bank funds like those intermediaries. Utilizing a system like Fednow creates the direct access, rendering those transactions nearly instantaneous. Also, it could cut out existing fees. This is just something they're going to tell you to make you feel good and want to, it makes things cheaper. Also, it could cut out existing fees and attachments to many current services. This wouldn't necessarily negate the need for private banking institution, but rather offer an alternative for people deterred by minimum balance requirements. So all that is just good salad words for, oh, this system is going to make life better. You don't have to pay all these fees. But eventually, we know once everybody gets on this, which everybody's really on it. You think about Cash App, you think about Zelle, you think about Venmo, you're pretty much on a cashless. You pretty much we've been eased into this cashless society already. So I'm gonna have you listen to Miss Pippa Malmgren. Probably not pronouncing that right, but bear with me. So she has a lot to say.
I remember talking to an Australian diplomat at one point about this break between the US and China, and said, both sides are going to say, whose team are you on? And he said, our job is to make sure the question never arises. But the question has arisen. And so I think we have to go deeper. And it's not about the US versus China. It's about what underpins a world order is always the financial system.
See what she said? What underpins a world order is the financial system, right? So anything, in order to have control, you have to have the control of the finances. So when we got up the gold standard, they were able to print a limited amount of money, right? Fiat money. And that obviously there's a lot more to that I can get into, but and I'll probably do a video on the history of us getting off the gold standard, but before that, how it was illegal to own gold in 1933, I think it was, with the Roosevelt administration. But yeah, so what she said it herself. So let's get into it.
I was very privileged. My father was an advisor to Nixon when they came off the gold standard in '71, and so I was brought up with a kind of inside view of how very important the financial structure is to absolutely everything else. And what we're seeing in the world today, I think, is we're on the brink of a dramatic change where.
So listen to this closely. Just listen to this closely. She said we're on the brink of a dramatic change. A change that's going to happen. And I believe strongly in 2023, this change is going to really happen. And obviously, I just show you the article to prove it now. But this video came out way before they confirmed this.
We are about to, and I'll say this boldly, we're about to abandon the traditional system of money and accounting and introduce a new one. And the new accounting is what we call blockchain. It means digital. It means having a almost perfect record of every single transaction that happens in the economy, which will give us far greater clarity over.
When she says clarity means I see everything that you're doing. I monitor everything that you're doing. So the idea of Big Brother, this is what this gives clarity to. The book 1984 by George Orwell. For those of you who haven't read it, you should check it out. But that book really, this is what this is about. Total surveillance over your records, your transactions, all these things.
What's going on. It also raises huge dangers in terms of the balance of power between states and citizens. In my opinion, we're going to need a digital constitution of human rights.
So what is this digital constitution of human rights? So basically, many of the laws that we have today, obviously, they will have to be changed. right? And this is all across the earth, meaning multiple different countries. This is a universal thing that's going on here.
We're going to have digital money, but also this new money will be sovereign in nature.
Total control, sovereign.
Most people think that digital money is crypto and private, but what I see are superpowers introducing digital currency. The Chinese were the first. Mm-hmm. The U.S. is on the brink, I think, of moving in the same direction. The Europeans have.
I think it's pretty clear what she's saying. So I want to say that MIT expert says test technical research for hypothetical central banking digital currency collaboration. So basically, they're saying that they're testing this hypothetical research for a hypothetical central bank digital currency, but we already know that they've been working for years with Project Hamilton with Boston Federal Reserve. They've been doing that. It says the research developed 2 complete sets of computing source codes or code bases for the software systems. The code base was capable of handling 1.7 million transactions per second, with 99% of those transactions finishing in less than a second, well above the benchmark of 100,000 transactions per second they sought to achieve. The other code base was able to process 170,000 transactions, 70,000 transactions per second. That level of throughput would help finalize every transaction at the central bank, while enabling growth of other machine-to-machine transactions, both of which would be vital for potential CBDC. So those findings have been released in a paper of high-performance payment processing system design for a central banking digital currency. Obviously, there's something here called the Open CBDC. This is something that they're taking seriously. Obviously, the Federal Reserve of Boston wouldn't be collaborating with MIT for no reason. This is something that's serious. Don't think this is hypothetical. That's how they want to frame it, but this is what's happening now. And clearly, as you can see, as it says in the title, Federal Reserve Fednow real-time payment system, mid-2023, this is what they've been working on for years. Now, this right here is the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston, like I said before, and Massachusetts, or MIT Institute, released technological research of central bank digital currency. Project Hamilton, which we know started in the year 2006, but prior to that, it was linked to the Clinton administration, focuses on this. Clinton administration, like in 98, around the year 98, focuses on technological experiment and does not aim to create usable CBDCs. So that's pretty much it, guys. I can show you so much more. Project Hamilton, building hypothetical bank. This is MIT Media Lab. Then you have another one, multi-year project managed by the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Digital Currency Initiative is considered the feasibility of central bank and digital currency. Obviously, they already have this all planned out, and like I said before, they have there's 2 tests. One that handle 1.7 million transactions per second. And it's pretty clear where we're going. And they have this software called the Open CBDC, right? The CBDC that was developed using an open source research software called the Open CBDC. So clearly MIT, the Federal Reserve, is behind this. I also want to tell you that a lot of the things that's coming out now, the NFTs, the artists, projects celebrating Ethereum emerge with historic mints. There's going to be artists who get rich and do well, and that's going to make people want to clamor to it because they want to get money too, but it's all directing us to getting us more into digital assets, and that ultimately will lead us to basically we're being walked off the bridge, if you want to say it like that. And what I mean by being walked off the bridge is like we're walking the plank. And what I really truly mean is simply this: when they get us on this cashless society and these digital assets, when they get us accustomed to that, they can control us more. And that's really what they're doing. That's why they're dangling NFTs and artists getting rich. You're going to hear more of that if you haven't heard it already. What you're supposed to be doing is buying land, honestly. But that's a whole nother conversation. See, this is Project Lithium. And it's basically Project Lithium is just another project that's the same as Project Hamilton. which is a test pilot program that's been running for years. Project Lithium, again, financial service company DTCC, working with Digital Dollar Project on CBDC prototype. So it's very clear where we are, where we're headed. Another one, major U.S. clearinghouse DTCC building Project Lithium to test CBDC real-time settlement. So all this stuff has been happening, right? Now this is the cryptocurrency patent that I have. If you read it, you zoom in on it, especially right here. It talks about literally like it's one example of a virtual currency is cryptocurrency, where cryptography is used to secure transactions, right? It says here, however, blockchain-based cryptocurrency can be implemented in a centralized system, having a central point of control over the cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is one example of a blockchain-based cryptocurrency. It is described in 2008 article by Satoshi Nakamoto. Anyways, so clearly, and most cryptocurrency are decentralized, meaning they don't have a central point of control. But clearly right here, you can have a central point of control, right? System of central point of control. And that's pretty clear. And that's what I'm going to leave you with. Thank you for listening. Obviously, you can subscribe to my channel. I plan to do more history-based things and making the connection with how these things are connected to the Bible, connected to history, and it's provable. And I'm going to show you that in future videos. So thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. You have a great day and tune in again. Peace.